Hello and welcome to how to upgrade your T500 boiler. Now I'm doing this on a beat up boiler solely because I've already adapted my main boiler and it'll be awkward to show you that when the fact that obviously I'm going to show you how you do it. Now the reason why is they come with this plastic tap which isn't very good. You open it up and it takes forever to actually empty because it's so slow. Secondly is the fact that you're going to have to put this over a sink or something else because obviously it's a direct out. What you really need is a tap which can then put a hose on it. And that's what this is. Now you can get these from hardware stores, eBay, Amazon, all sorts of things. So check out. Now the way they work, it's got a single nut on the end, a rubber or silicone washer in there or gasket. And what's amazing with them is they have this adapter which you can then take off the end. So it's an ordinary tap. And on this side, you can actually put a hose. So then this way, I put a 2-meter hose on mine. So when it's on the boiler, I can then ready to empty it. Put that on there. Hose goes off into my sink. And then I can just open it, dump it, know that I'm not having to brew now or distill over the sink. I can do it a few feet away. Doesn't matter. And it really works well. Now they're quite simple to put on. All you do, you got a small nut inside of the base. You'll need to get a socket on there because it will be quite tight, but basically loosen that all off, which I already have done for it. Unscrew, take it off, put it back together again. I'd advise then put it in a box somewhere, because you never know when you might need or want a tap, even a not very good one. And then take this. That will be a tight fit. I'm not going to tell you the exact dimensions of it because obviously at the end of the day, you need to measure it and find out the best one for you, but put it in there. Plus I'm also concerned that I am aware of 7 different versions of the T500 boiler that's come out over the years. That the one I have might be a different size fitting than yours. So if I tell you what I've got, it could be completely different to yours. And there we go. Obviously, you'll want to tighten up with a spanner. So that's now off, and that's now on. And what they also come with is, or most of the good taps, is a smaller piece, like a movable bit of metal that actually locks in place. So I can't open it anymore. You have to literally lift it up and then twist it, and it works really well. Now, the second thing that really annoys me with the T500 boiler is the cable, because it's sat there. The only thing you can do with it is dump it into the boiler like I've done here, but then you can't put your lid on there because it's in the way. And if you're in the UK, our plug is bigger than the hole, so I can't even put the lid on and then put this in there. And this is just sat there the whole time. And when I'm moving my boiler, I've got to hold this while then holding the boiler, and it's really, really annoying. So what I'm going to do is put on here a little IEC female connector, and that will then work with a standard, as we call it in the UK, a kettle lead, which could then just plug in. And it will make my life a lot easier because that way this cable that I'm going to use for it will be stored in the boiler with the lid on. Any other parts you want to store with your boiler can be all in one place. Now for that, obviously you just get one of this standard little connectors. This is flat, whereas obviously this base is round, so it will be sticking out a little bit, but I'm not too worried about that. You can get ones that are curved for adapters. You will need, potentially, depending on your internals, some thermal wire. And this is like 16 or 20 amp rated with thermal coating over it, so that way it's made to work in hot environments, which it is in there. And then you'll also need some spade connectors. So I've got my 3, red, which I'm going to be using for live, and then the blue and other blue for neutral and earth. Now, in theory, you won't need to use any of this cable because what you'll be doing is cutting this a fair distance away from the end. So I'm going to be pulling this in, putting the spade onto that, and then attaching that to here. And then, sorry, I got lots of cats. And then that way, this can then go in there, and all I need is the spade. But depending on how it is in there, I may need to use the thermal cable as well. But we'll take a look at that once we actually open it up. So let's get this on the floor and open it up. Alright, first thing to do is take the base off. Okay, now this is always a tricky bit because the base doesn't come off very easily. There we go. Also, it's tied with the cables here, so it's very tight, so it really is a pain in the backside to actually work on. What I'm going to do is lie it down so I can then get to that point there. First thing you want to do is then remove this connector. And that should then allow you to push the cable through here. And mine's being a bit of a pain, as typical. Alright, it's because I got 4 connected on there. Now I've taken the plate off, cable comes out. And now it is just a matter of putting these spades on. So give it about that much space. That's it. So now these will fit directly onto here. So that way they can then plug in. But what we need to do first is open up that hole so this will fit in there. So what I need for that is my Dremel drill. And then what I'm going to do is then cut a hole for it. Now what you could also do is you could drill 2 holes and put a nut and a bolt either side. What I'm going to be doing, and I'll do this after the video, is I'm going to be using some 2-part epoxy glue, or else something like being thrown around, Gorilla Glue, and I'm just going to be pouring it all around here, and then once it's dry I'll then do the top side, so that way I'll have not a waterproof layer, but it will be secured in there and I won't be using nuts or bolts. So the next thing is just connecting it. Get it from a different angle. There we go, and there's Earth. So now, all we need to do is then tidy it all up, rotate the base, get it all aligned, and then we can then screw the bottoms back in, and we are job done. But don't you think that that looks so much better now? And that way it's nice and easy, quite clean looking, and it means no more trailing cables anymore. So there you go. I hope you agree that obviously fixing the tap is definitely the way to go as a start. Now I do appreciate that a lot of you may not want to open up the boiler and change the electrics to then put the socket on there. Admittedly, if you're inside a warranty, you do not want to do that. Changing the tap, it's fine to do within warranty because you're not actually damaging it. As long as you keep the original tap, if you have any issues and you can return it with the original tap actually built on or put in back onto it again, you won't be in any issues. But there obviously will be a lot of people who don't like dealing with electrics, or don't know someone who can do electrics, therefore they just don't want to do the cable at the back. But it certainly is worthwhile the, I don't know, 5-10 minutes it took me to actually fit it. So yeah, there you go. I found this helpful. See you next time.